Welcome to a Tech Moment on Cannabis Tech. I'm your host, Christina Etter. In this podcast, we take just a few minutes to talk about some of the exciting new science and technology companies that are in the cannabis industry. Today, I am so excited to have Marisa McRainey, who is the CEO and co-founder of Revolution Micro. This is an Atlanta-based company who specializes in cannabis cultivation, lighting, and controls. Welcome to the show, Marisa.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
Thanks so much for taking time out of your day today. Tell me a little bit about your background and kind of what your role is with Revolution Micro. I mean, how did you actually come down to this path to start producing cannabis lighting systems?
Well, about 10 years ago, Greg Richter and I had just started dating and seeing each other, and we had very separate lives. He was a scientist, and I was a makeup and effects artist in the movie. So we both had very busy schedules, and we weren't seeing each other that often. So Greg came up with the idea. He said, instead of you going and working on Zombieland, which was going to be my next project, and I was going to be gone for about 16 weeks, he said, why don't we start a company together? So we started looking at technologies. He was already in aerospace and doing jet navigation systems. And I said at the time, well, what about getting into cannabis cultivation? And at the time he wasn't very interested, but after 6 months of really trying to convince him on it, we took a trip out to San Diego to work on an automation project for a grow room. And it was at that point in time that Greg really kind of fell in love with the industry, and I was able to demonstrate to him that there was a lot of medical use for it, for seizures and for cancer. And he started to get excited about the industry as much as I was, because from the beginning, I believe that cannabis is very important for not only medicine, but also our progress as human beings with environmentalism, because of paper and because of concrete and clothing and all the things and plastic that we can do with it. There's so much potential. So about 10 years ago, we decided to design the GrowBot, and it was a full automation system that would allow the horticulturist to leave the room for a month solid, not have to drain and clean the reservoir, not have to turn on and off the lights. It would inject nutrients. It did everything that you could want to do, and you could watch it from your phone and control it from your phone. What we found is that we ended up doing quite a lot of router and internet service provider support, and we didn't want to do that. So we decided to move into the lighting end. So we came out with our first project, which was the 1K4 flip ballast. And from there, we started developing more and more and more, not only for ourselves, but also for other companies as an OEM service. So we have not only our own brand of lighting and control, but we also offer OEM services for other big companies, and we white label it for them, and they bring it out under their label.
Fantastic. Now, let's clarify a little bit. We talked about this a little bit here before we got started. Now, you don't actually, you provide the lighting fixtures, correct? So tell us a little bit about what those lighting options are and the controllers that go with them, and kind of what your product line is like.
All right, so the Revolution Micro brand, which is our lighting and controls, we also make things for other industries. But for the horticultural market, we have lighting fixtures. We didn't see a whole lot of progress being made for about 15 years. You had the DE, which were all E. Papillon derivatives. And if you broke them open, you would see that they were all exactly the same. And they, in fact, copied each other's design flaws. So it really demonstrated that they didn't understand what they were doing or looking at, that they were just copying one design after another, taking the E. Papillon and then packaging it in a new metal box, in a new different cardboard box. And everyone would go to China, get their name put on a product, and then sell it in the United States. So for the first time, we designed lighting and control from the ground up, not for profit, but for performance and for longevity. And that's the first time that that's ever been done. Greg Richter is an aerospace engineer. He is the second co-founder of the company. He designs 100% of our PC board, writes the software, does the heat extrusion, R&D. There is no part of our lighting and controls that he does not personally handle. And again, he came out of aerospace. So we have a very different approach than anyone else has ever used. Part life, very important to us. 36-year part life is what we choose to go with. And that means that it's rated. So the maker of the parts guarantees you it should last this long. And people base their warranties off of a part life. So say with the other DE, E Papillon derivatives, you're going to see a part life of 3 to 5 years. To our 36.
Wow.
That's part of the reason we have a 0.003% failure rate up against the industry standard of 8 to 12%. So right out of the box, you're going to see numerous failures with other makers. And with us, an example, Potent Farms of Oregon, 680 lights, 3 years later, past the warranty, not a single failure. And that's unheard of. That's never been done. You just have to expect the failures. And as a matter of fact, other companies will have someone on staff just to deal with taking the bad lights down and sending them back. And not with us. Even if you had a bad light, it's field repairable. So you can just take the board out and replace it, put the screws back in, and you're done. But no one has ever used it. So I think that's pretty impressive, considering we have hundreds of thousands of units all over the world, many countries, and we've still been able to keep the failure rate that low between the part life. And also we use conformal coating, which is what you would see in aerospace and automotive, high-end audio. But for some reason, in horticulture, you always see the black top goo, and it holds heat in. So we also thought that that was a design flaw. So you break open ours, you're going to see a very different board. You're going to see, or not see, conformal coating, and you're going to see just a level of mastery that is not seen anywhere else in the industry. And that's how we're putting 36% more light on the canopy with 2% less electricity, which is also huge. So saving electricity, saving numerous units from going into the garbage dump. And we're also encouraging the industry to move away from HPS and towards LED. And so originally we made the Deva. We've always had that. It's HPS. Comes in any voltage from 240 to 377. You can run 1,000 watt CMH in it, which is very unusual because everyone else decided to go with high frequency. High frequency has a lot of acoustic resonance to it, so it's going to shake and heat up the electronics on levels that you will not see with low frequency square wave. Low frequency square wave is harder to do, it's more expensive, but customer experience and performance is important to us. So you'll see that the silent square wave is a bit more expensive than the high frequency. But when you get right down to it and you start looking at, well, let's look at the import laws. Well, supposedly you're supposed to have part 15 consumer for all of these LEDs. They don't meet that, but we do. And that's because of our quality parts. We're the only LED fixture in the United States to meet part 15B consumer, and all of them are supposed to. And we question, why are these being imported when they're not legal? And what makes them legal is they're safe for use around people and animals. So what about all of these other, facilities that are using non-part 15B and exposing people to high levels of RF? Not so good, and EMI.
Right, right. And what incredible numbers you have behind your technology. Clearly, there's some high quality craftsmanship that goes into these devices. So that kind of segues into my next question then. You have a new product that's coming out, right? Or it's already out, and it's called a VC. Do you want to tell us a little bit about it and what kind of makes it stand apart from the others?
Right. The VC is really our crowning achievement in the way that it's priced for scalability. The Deva was an incredible triumph of engineering, but it was slightly more expensive than the e-papillons that are going to give you less light, less energy efficiency. But in the end, for a lot of businesses, when you say, well, would you rather pay $100,000 for the Gavita, or would you rather pay $150,000 for the Revolution Micro? They'll oftentimes, if they're not taking into consideration long-term operational costs, they'll go with the short-term answer that's going to get them going at a cheaper price immediately. But we don't think that that's the best way to go. But, you know, you have to go with what people want in the market. So one of our major focuses on the LED was to bring all of that improvement in technology, but offer it at a better price, not just the same price, but better. And it took us about 2 or 3 years, and we finally have developed a LED, which is the Avisi, that is, we consider the only true HPS replacement. There are other LEDs that are as bright, but they do not come in at the same price point, and they do not have the programmable spectrum that we do. So when you think about light and cost and business and scalability, the most important thing is dollars per U-mole. How much are you paying for the electricity, and how much is the fixture giving you in lighting output? So if you're paying $1 per U-mole, well, wouldn't it be better to pay 50 cents per U-mole? So with, say, a Fluence fixture, you're going to be getting almost half of what the U-mole is, 1,700 to our 2,300. And we make sure that our U-mole output is independent lab certified by the CSA. So it's not just us saying, oh, we held a meter under it and it's 2,300 U-mole. Oh, no. We got this independently certified so that you can say for sure, CSA says I'm going to get 2,300 U-mole for $9.99 a fixture. Everybody else is coming in at, you know, anywhere from say 1,400 to 3,000 for less U-mole. Or if say they're getting around the same U-mole that we are, you will expect that fixture to be $3,000 to our 1,000. So we're giving you more light with less electricity being consumed. We're using a higher grade rated part so that you know it's designed for longevity and for lower failure rates. And we're also, I think, possibly the only company that tackles environmental issues. We're not saying, oh, we're just saying that LEDs are better for the market than an HPS. We went and we ethically sourced our rare earth minerals to make sure that they were not coming from warlords. We're making sure that less is going into the garbage dump. We're making sure, and this is pretty unheard of, that our factory is ISO 9001 certified. So that lets you know that the workers are getting breaks, that they're getting paid, that they're not being overworked, that they're not being exposed to heat, cold, chemicals, that they have proper ventilation, that they have proper covering. And so that's very important to us. And so oftentimes we would say with, you know, the Deva versus the other HPSs, they're like, well, it's cheaper. And you say, but at what cost? There are people that are dying to bring you these cheap lights, and it's not good. They're gonna have very short, painful lives. And I don't know if you've seen the nets around Foxconn, the nets, but serious problems in China. And recently you've seen go through, they're seeing 25% increase. The I-1000 certified, it had treatment and quality of living for the employees, very important to us. You're getting a better quality performance, you're getting a better quality company, better quality support, better quality treatment of the people who create your technologies. And our customers are the happiest in the market. We have the best customer service rating that there is. It's almost unheard of. If we have a problem or a failure, because we have so few, we've had 12 Devas fail in hundreds of thousands of units. So if someone has a failure, we overnight them a new Deva and just figure out what's wrong with it. We're not going to say, well, we'll get it back and we'll look at it. We'll see if it's your fault. And if it isn't your fault, then maybe we'll send you another one in a few weeks. It's, no, here it is. And you're back up and going instantaneously. So quality, environmentalism, and customer experience are going to be at the core of everything we do. And that's something that I'm very proud of.
That's absolutely wonderful that much forethought goes into the manufacturing of your products and making sure that everything is ethically sourced. That's definitely, you know, a step above what most electronic companies and technology companies are doing. So kudos to you on that. And what a wonderful product line. It sounds like you've kind of gotten all the bases covered there for cannabis cultivators.
We tried to make an option for everything, because I don't know if you've seen, there's a lot of fighting between the LED and the HPS crowd. And when anyone tries to drag me into that argument, well, which is better? Like, well, we make an excellent version of each. If you'd like a DE, you can have it in QMH, CMH, HPS, any voltage, we can do that. If you like LED better, ours is 100% Osram diodes, very quality machine, but we don't like to get involved in the argument. But if you ask me, the LED technology will overtake the DE technology within the next 3 to 5 years.
Yeah, I think
specifically because of the waste.
Right. And yeah, I think I see that happening as well. It just in the interviews and the different things that I do hear within the industry, it seems like most people are starting to head towards those LED solutions. Is there anything else that you'd like to share, or maybe some contact information about Revolution Micro and how our listeners can get a hold of you to ask more questions and to learn more about your product?
Well, we're always available on our website, through social media, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, and we respond usually within hours unless we're asleep. So anytime you need to get a hold of us, we're very accessible, both Greg and I. If you were a customer and you wanted to have a phone call with Greg, you would have a phone call with him today.
Fantastic. Well, thanks so much for your time, Marisa. It's been a joy talking to you today.
Oh, you're welcome, and thank you for having me.